Good evening, and welcome to the Crypto Overnighter. I'm Nicodemus, and I will be your host as we take a look at the latest cryptocurrency news and analysis. So sit back, relax, and let's get started. And remember, none of this is financial advice. And it's 10 p.m. on Friday, June 30th, 2023. Welcome back to the Crypto Overnighter, where we have no sponsors, no hidden agendas, and no BS. But we do have a contest, and time is running out. The very first Crypto Overnighter hardware wallet giveaway is almost over. Tomorrow I will be picking one name from the list of commenters on the May 2023 covers video. Just tell me which is your favorite color, and you'll be entered to win. If I pick your name and you have a US mailing address, I will be sending you one shiny new hardware wallet. But for now, we've got the news. The U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission is set to deliver its rebuttal to Coinbase's initial legal argument on July 13th. This hearing is scheduled much sooner than anticipated due to Coinbase's unique defense strategy. They submitted their response a substantial 40 days ahead of the August 7th deadline. Gensler's crew was required to respond to Coinbase's defense by July 3rd, but an extension of 3 business days was granted due to the Independence Day holiday weekend. The court also transformed the pre-trial conference into a pre-motion conference, rescheduling it for July 13th instead of the original date of August 24th. In a pre-motion conference, either the prosecution or the defense submits an application to the court, seeking a decision on a specific issue prior to the commencement of the trial. Coinbase put forth counter-arguments in relation to the SEC's complaint, asserting that numerous tokens mentioned in the SEC's case lie beyond the scope of the Commission's jurisdiction. In a recent letter to the court, Coinbase's legal representative pointed out that Coinbase has responded to the SEC's complaint by presenting several defenses. Among them, the contention that this legal action goes against due process and represents an abuse of discretion. Nevertheless, there is a more fundamental issue with the SEC's case, one that the chairperson recognized 2 years ago and establishes Coinbase's entitlement to judgment on the pleadings. The subject matter in question falls beyond the purview of the SEC's authority. According to one legal expert, the exchange's approach of filing its response 40 days ahead of schedule in order to advance the case through a motion for judgment on the pleadings is not uncommon in similar circumstances, but rather a creative strategy. Tweeting about the matter, Meta Lawman pointed out that the exchange's move is intended to present the judge with the documents that support its case by including them in the answer. Meta Lawman further clarified that the difference between a motion to dismiss and a motion for judgment on the pleadings. He said that on a motion to dismiss, the judge is limited to considering only the factual allegations in the complaint and any attachments or references therein. Moreover, on a motion for judgment on the pleadings, the judge has the authority to review other pleadings filed in the case, which encompasses the defendant's answer to the complaint. On July 13th, when Coinbase appears in court, the judge is going to make a crucial decision regarding the motion at hand. It is customary for such proceedings to be a mere formality, resulting in permission being granted, unless the opposing party presents a compelling argument. As Meta Lawman stated, there would need to be a substantial reason presented by the other side to deviate from this usual course of action. Before we dive into our next story, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe, and ring the bell for notifications. Now, let's talk about Bitcoin ETFs. The SEC expressed dissatisfaction with the recent filings for spot Bitcoin ETF funds by NASDAQ and CBOE. The filings submitted by prominent asset managers such as BlackRock and Fidelity were returned by the SEC due to lack of sufficient information regarding the surveillance sharing arrangements. However, the asset managers have been given the opportunity to amend and resubmit their filings with more precise language and comprehensive details. Following this news, the price of Bitcoin experienced a significant decline, plummeting from its previous value of $31,000 to $29,830. Despite this setback, the competition for a spot Bitcoin ETF remains high. Coinbase's chief legal officer said the American people want a spot Bitcoin ETF. Paul Grewal contends that this demand has prompted the market to respond in kind by proffering secure, regulated cryptocurrency products. Notably, this observation comes at a time when the deluge of applications for a spot Bitcoin ETF has inundated the regulatory authorities in the past month. BlackRock unveiled its intent to launch such an ETF on June 15th. Coinbase Custody Trust Company is poised to act as its trustworthy guardian. In addition to BlackRock's foray into this realm, other notable companies such as Invesco, WisdomTree, Valkyrie Funds, and ARK Invest have joined the fray, striving for the approval of their own spot-based funds. However, the SEC has yet to endorse a spot Bitcoin ETF. They have cited profound apprehensions surrounding potential market manipulation and fraudulent activities. According to MicroStrategy's Michael Saylor, introducing a Bitcoin ETF would be a monumental development within the industry. However, he cautions that this change would not necessarily result in substantial price increases. That said, he sees this as a vital milestone on the path to institutional acceptance and the adoption of Bitcoin. Moreover, he firmly asserts that the establishment of a spot ETF would offer official validation from regulators, thereby solidifying Bitcoin's status as a bona fide asset. MicroStrategy became the first publicly traded company to include Bitcoin in its capital allocation strategy. And not just once, this move was followed by multiple subsequent purchases of the digital asset, effectively expanding MicroStrategy's Bitcoin stash to 152,333 Bitcoin, conservatively valued at $4.6 billion. Despite Bitcoin's inherent volatility, Saylor believes in its potential for widespread adoption, bolstered by its resolute focus on economic empowerment. He is not as charitable towards cryptocurrencies like Ether, deeming them to be unregulated securities. And this just in, as I was working on this story, we got news from the Wall Street Journal. Fidelity will be entering into a surveillance sharing agreement with Coinbase. If, in fact, that was the genesis of the SEC's rejection of these applications, that should be it, right? It's over, right? The ball is in your court, Gary. The UK has taken a significant step forward in the regulation of cryptocurrencies and stablecoins. King Charles has given his approval to the Financial Services and Markets Bill, marking the final stage in the process of making the bill law. This legislation brings cryptocurrencies and stablecoins under the umbrella of regulation. The Financial Services Minister, Andrew Griffith, stated that this act gives the UK control over its financial services rulebook. The bill was first introduced in July of 2022. It grants regulators more power over the financial system, including cryptocurrencies. As the bill was debated in Parliament, amendments were made to treat all cryptocurrencies as regulated activities and to oversee the promotion of cryptocurrencies. The bill also extends the scope of payment regulations to include stablecoins. In the near future, the UK's Treasury, Financial Conduct Authority, the Bank of England, and the Systems Payment Regulator will be able to introduce and enforce rules to regulate the sector. The Treasury has been consulting on its proposed rules with the sector since February, in line with the Conservative government's objective to turn the UK into a hub for cryptocurrencies. According to Griffith, specific regulations on the cryptocurrency sector could be introduced within the next 12 months. In addition to these regulatory changes, the Financial Services and Markets Bill also allows for the creation of regulatory sandboxes. These will provide a space for businesses to experiment with blockchain use cases. This is part of a broader effort to support Prime Minister Rishi Sunak's ambition to turn the UK into a global crypto hub. Griffith said that this legislation will support UK businesses and consumers and drive growth. By repealing old EU laws, he believes that this law will unlock billions in investment, fostering innovation and stimulating economic growth. The industry also responded positively to the new law. Andrew Whitworth is the policy director for EMEA at Ripple. He praised the UK for fulfilling its commitment to establishing itself as a leading hub for cryptocurrencies. He said passing the Financial Services and Markets Bill and the Laws Commission's recommendation to accommodate crypto assets are both crucial steps in this journey. He believes that the legislation offers certainty and clarity for the crypto industry and positions the UK as an attractive destination for global crypto and blockchain companies. Editor's note, and they do tend to have the best accents. From the UK, we're now heading to the east. So let's see what's happening in South Korea. South Korea took a significant step toward regulating the crypto market with the introduction of a new crypto bill. This legislation is the Virtual Asset User Protection Act. It's designed to impose penalties and to hold individuals accountable for damages resulting from unfair cryptocurrency trading practices. This move comes as part of the government's efforts to protect investors from major market disruptions such as the collapse of Do Kwon's Terra ecosystem. The legislation consolidates 19 crypto-related provisions into a single comprehensive bill. It defines digital assets and sets out penalties for illicit trading activities. including market manipulation and the use of undisclosed information. Also, this legislation applies the Capital Market Act to virtual assets with a securities nature. This establishes a solid foundation for punishing unfair crypto trading practices and seeking compensation for losses. The legislation requires virtual asset service providers in South Korea to take responsibility for users' deposits and to provide insurance coverage to further protect investors. These measures are designed to safeguard users against risks such as hacking or technical failures. The penalties for violating the new rules are severe. Offenders could face imprisonment for up to 1 year or hefty fines. The Financial Services Commission, for example, has the authority to impose penalties twice the amount of illicit gains derived from unfair trading practices. This legislative development follows the recent sentencing of Do Kwon. Kwon was sentenced to 4 months in prison in Montenegro for using a fake passport. He faces an arrest warrant in South Korea for allegedly violating the country's capital markets law. South Korean prosecutors have labeled the collapse of Terra's tokens as the largest financial fraud case in the nation's history. Despite these measures, some critics argue the legislation still falls short of fully embracing the unique nature of crypto. Lee Sa-ryong is the Chief Secretary General of the Korea Blockchain Enterprise Promotion Association in Seoul. They said the law's approach remains rooted in the traditional financial viewpoint, leaving room for improvement in terms of effectively regulating crypto. South Korea's new crypto bill represents a concerted effort by the government to foster a fair and transparent environment within the crypto industry. By implementing stricter regulations and imposing severe penalties, the government aims to protect investors and to promote the sustainable growth of this rapidly evolving market. As we continue our global tour, we're heading to the Southern Hemisphere. But before we do, if you haven't already, make sure to follow us on Twitter. Now, let's see what's happening in New Zealand. The Reserve Bank of New Zealand recently announced that it will not be proposing any regulatory measures for stablecoins and cryptocurrencies. Instead, the central bank is advocating for increased vigilance in the sector. This decision was made after careful consideration of various factors, including consumer and investor protection, as well as potential commercial and regulatory barriers. The bank's stance was informed by a consultative process that began in December 2022. In that process, they received 50 submissions from various stakeholders. These submissions discuss the development of the crypto asset market. They also reinforce the bank's view that there are significant risks and opportunities in the sector, as well as considerable uncertainties about its future development. The central bank is also exploring the possibility of implementing a central bank digital currency, but no definitive decision has been made yet. If a CBDC is introduced, it will not replace physical cash, which will continue to be available in New Zealand. In recent developments, Binance has registered as a financial service provider in New Zealand, while Huobi has stopped offering derivatives trading services in the country. In addition to this, the RBNZ stated that crypto and stablecoins should be more closely monitored. This comes as the central bank is increasing its scrutiny of stablecoins and crypto assets, but it stopped short of calling for a regulatory approach. The bank is waiting to see how other jurisdictions will regulate crypto before making its own moves. Global harmonization is seen as crucial to ensure effective regulation. Best practices may become more clear as overseas regimes are implemented. New Zealand currently ranks 108 out of 146 in the 2022 Global Crypto Adoption Index by Chainalysis. This puts them just behind Austria. The country's current laws consider crypto a form of property. Digital assets are governed by the various non-crypto specific financial, money laundering, and tax regulations. The RBNZ acknowledges that the challenges posed by crypto assets and other innovations do not fall neatly within the agency's boundaries. Therefore, consumer and investor protections and regulatory barriers to entry are important if the country wants to create a reliable and efficient money and payment system. So while the RBNZ is not proposing any regulatory measures for crypto and stablecoins at this time, it is advocating for increased vigilance and monitoring in the sector. The central bank is also exploring the possibility of a CBDC, but no decision has been made. Not yet. The RBNZ's stance reflects a cautious approach, acknowledging the significant risks and opportunity in the sector, as well as the uncertainties about its future development. Now from New Zealand, we're heading back to the US. Let's talk about Celsius. Celsius has been given the go-ahead to begin the process of liquidating its altcoins. This decision is part of the company's strategy to distribute assets to its creditors. The assets will be distributed in the form of the two most popular cryptocurrencies, Bitcoin and Ether. Bankruptcy Judge Martin Glenn of the Southern District of New York approved the move. Celsius put forth the proposal after discussions with the Securities and Exchange Commission. Starting from July 1st, 2023, Celsius is permitted to sell or convert any non-Bitcoin and non-Ether digital assets into Bitcoin or Ether. This decision was made in accordance with federal and state laws and regulations. Celsius has reportedly been in constant communication with the SEC and state regulatory agencies. The company faced insolvency in July 2022. It was later approved for sale to Fahrenheit in May. It's currently revising its bankruptcy plan. The updated plan will limit distributions of cryptocurrencies to creditors only in Bitcoin or Ethereum, with a few exceptions. The SEC has recently taken action against major crypto exchanges like Binance, Coinbase, and Bittrex, asserting that tokens associated with Polygon, Near, and Cardano are subject to securities regulations. This has caused significant delays in the winding down of bankruptcy lender Voyager, as the SEC has claimed that the VGX token may be classified as a security. As a result, Binance US, which had intended to purchase Voyager's assets, withdrew from the deal. Celsius previously sought Chapter 11 bankruptcy protection on July 13, 2022. Revelations surfaced that the company was saddled with an astonishing $10 billion in liabilities. Celsius paused all withdrawals the day before the bankruptcy filing. This development is a clear indication of the volatile nature of the industry. It also highlights the importance of regulatory bodies in maintaining order and ensuring that all transactions and operations are carried out within the confines of the law. As the industry continues to grow and evolve, I expect more stringent measures will be put into place to protect investors and to maintain the integrity of the cryptocurrency market. So, what happened? We started off with an update on the SEC versus Coinbase case, where Coinbase's unique defense strategy has led to an earlier than expected court hearing. The outcome of this case could set a precedent for the scope of the SEC's authority over cryptocurrencies. Next, we discuss the SEC's dissatisfaction with recent Bitcoin ETF filings, which led to a significant decline in Bitcoin's price. Despite this setback, the race for a spot Bitcoin ETF continues, with major players like BlackRock and Fidelity still in the running. We then cross the Atlantic to the UK, where King Charles has given royal approval to the Financial Services and Markets Bill. This new law brings cryptocurrencies and stablecoins under regulatory oversight, marking a significant step forward for the UK's crypto industry. Our journey continued to South Korea, where a new crypto bill has been introduced to regulate the cryptocurrency market and to protect investors from unfair trading practices. This legislation is a response to major market disruptions and aims to hold individuals accountable for damages. Next, we visited New Zealand, where the Reserve Bank has decided not to propose any regulatory measures for cryptocurrencies and stablecoins. Instead, the central bank is advocating for increased vigilance in the sector and exploring the possibility of implementing a central bank digital currency. Finally, we return to the US to discuss the cryptocurrency lending platform Celsius. The company has been given the go-ahead to liquidate its altcoins in order to distribute the assets to its creditors. This move highlights the volatile nature of the crypto industry and the importance of regulatory oversight. And that's going to do it for us tonight. I want to thank you, my listeners, because when you stop listening, I will stop talking. If you enjoyed tonight's show, then please like, follow, subscribe, leave a rating, or maybe a review. And in the meantime, we'll see you tomorrow night.